Welcome back, everybody. You know the old saying, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? Well, according to our next guest, it's that kind of thinking that's getting in the way of spreading the wealth around.
Author Steve Siebold joins us now to fill us in with his 5 steps to getting rich. The book is called How Rich People Think. Welcome to Daytime, Steve.
Thanks for having me.
Apparently, I'm not thinking the right way.
I'm not rich.
You're doing okay. You say there are steps to this, and the first one is study the differences in thinking between the middle class and the world class.
Yeah, in 26 years of interviews with the wealthy all over the world, I found they think completely differently than the rest of us. I mean, it's like they're living on a different planet. So I think it really takes study to find out how these people think. Yeah.
Well, how do they think? I mean, what's the difference between the way the masses think about money and the way the rich people, who clearly have other ideas about how to obtain it?
There's so many, but I think the biggest one is they operate in a consciousness when it comes to money of abundance as opposed to fear. They're not scared of money. They're looking at money as opportunity, as freedom, as liberty. Whereas I think most of us are trained to think, well, I hope I have enough to survive retirement or quit my job or whatever they want to do. It's always scarcity.
You say associate with the rich through books and audio programs, video programs. Do you just show up at the country club and try to fit in? I mean, you have to have money to join, first of all, but if you want to associate with the rich, you have to go where they are, don't you?
You do. It really, and that's why I've chased them from Palm Beach to Aspen, Sarasota to Scottsdale, you name it, anywhere all over the world I've chased them, basically. But, you know, you can do it in other ways. It's tough. It's a tough group to break into if you're not one of them.
Sure.
But you can do it now through books, through seminars, through audio programs, through TV shows like this. I mean, all over the place. There's so many opportunities with the media, especially with the internet now.
I have a friend who's quite wealthy, and his answer to me was, use other people's money to make your money.
Definitely. They do that is just better than any other group, and they think like that. So when there's an opportunity, they think, well, a lot of people think, well, I don't have the money, I couldn't invest in that, I couldn't afford to do that. And what I've learned over the years is the wealthy think, well, I don't have to have the money, I just have to go to people who do.
So you have to be a risk taker, obviously. Right?
I think to some degree, but I think that's overplayed a little bit, you know, because I think that the wealthy take calculated risks. I don't think they're giant. It's like entrepreneurs. They're not really giant risk takers, I think. They take very calculated, strategic, well thought out risks.
But the thing is, they take the step. They don't just think about it, they do it.
They do it.
You say minimize exposure to fear-based thinkers who are broke.
Yeah, this is a tough one. This offends a lot of people, but I've just found this over the years. This is what the wealthy have told me for 26 years. They've said, you've got to be careful about, you know, consciousness, as Freud said years ago, consciousness is contagious. So you've got to be careful. When you're hearing scarcity and fear all the time about money, that's going to rub off on the way you think. You have to be careful.
And then you also say, really be thinking down the road. Create a written vision for where you want to be in 5 years.
Right. What would your life look like if you couldn't fail financially? If you could have anything you want, if you were operating from complete abundance, what would your lifestyle look like? What would every detail of your life look like? Decide what you want. That's, I think, the first step.
You say force yourself to grow up emotionally, get mentally tough, and overcome any addiction you have to the approval of other people.
Yeah, they say the #1 addiction. I'm a mental toughness coach for companies and sales teams mostly, and they say psychologists say the #1 addiction is not booze or drugs or sex or food. It's the addiction to the approval of other people. You tell people, I want to be rich. They say, what do you want to do? I want to be a millionaire in 5 years or whatever the goal is. And people say, well, that's a little bit, gee, you know, because we're all trained to think money is evil and money, you know, rich people are narcissistic and they're bad and they're greedy and there's all this negative about money. It's a miracle any of us have any money because there's so much negative programming. So,
well, we can't all be rich. I mean, how can that be? I mean, we can all be richer, I suppose, but you still have to spread it around somehow, right?
I think we can, because what we say is that, you know, most people, we say the middle class thinks that money is finite, and technically it is finite, but the wealthy say money is really infinite because it comes from ideas that solve problems. And if ideas are infinite, money by default has to be somewhat infinite.
Really quickly, did most of the rich people that you've associated with give back in some way?
Yes. Yeah, so many people I've talked to I grew up in the middle class, that's where I come from, said, oh, they're greedy and all they talk about is money. And I've been running in their circles as an outsider for the most part, for most of the time. And that's not what they talk about. They talk about health and they talk about giving back. How can we change the world?
Okay, the book is called How Rich People Think. Steve Siebold, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Daytime, we'll be right back, folks.